Hello.
What's up, guys? I don't know how to do this because I suck at a lot of things.
Why don't you just let me carry it?
Okay, you carry it.
So we're gonna give you guys
Or
a
not.
garden tour.
This is my channel.
And I'm his wife. Hello, I'm
Hi.
Lauren. We're gonna give you a garden tour and also some tips and tricks and
As
don'ts.
how to get the perfect video or photography, the photos, clickies, and golden hour. Look at our faces. This is incredible.
Anyways, just some things that we wish we had done differently in our gardening journey. This is
Should we
our...
flip the phone?
No, it's good for now.
Okay.
This is our third spring here and our third year gardening ever. So we've learned a lot. Our garden has grown.
I feel like the camera should be on that side.
You need to just chill.
Babe, I'm just saying.
Just okay. Well,
Hi!
he got what he wanted, and the camera's now on the other side.
No, we're starting over.
What?
This is take number 7.
We are not starting over. We're
Okay,
gonna splice those
We're
videos.
splicing it because it's gonna be upside down.
Okay. So first, we'll give you guys the tour while we still have enough light, and then we'll give you guys some of our tips and tricks and what not
Stuff
to do.
that we've learned.
Yes, and what we wish we would have done differently.
Yeah. Sure.
So we're gonna turn the camera around.
Okay, so this is my garden, and what we've got working here. See my chickens and my chicken coop and my gate that I built and stuff. All right, what we're starting with here is
Volunteer pumpkin.
we have yep, volunteer pumpkin that just started to sprout up all by itself. So we kind of got to work around it or transplant it, but we just didn't have the heart. So my wife, she planted Chinese chives right there, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
There will be 7 at some point.
Okay, there will be 7, but those are okra plants, and those should grow pretty vertically, so I'm not concerned as far as them getting in the way or anything. But I'm super glad that, you know, this one over here isn't doing anything, but the rest are. So that's looking good. It's looking great. And we have an apple tree. What kind is this one, honey?
That is a pink lady.
Pink Lady apple tree, which pollinates, or is it's a pollinator for this one here.
That's a Red Delicious.
Which is a Red Delicious, as well as that small tree on the other side of that pallet there.
Jonathan.
It's a Jonathan Red apple tree, and they all pollinate each other. These two we planted at the same time, a little more than, what was it, last year? More than a year ago. And then this one we actually planted
This year.
Was it this year or was it late?
No, it was this year.
Okay, we planted that this year. Yeah, it was this year. Yeah, we got that super early, you know, early in the spring.
Got the best one they had.
Might even been late February when we got it. Look at that sunset. Isn't that beautiful? Okay. Sorry, guys. What we have here is a little section where we sectioned off for melons to grow. And
Oh dear.
we have one. That one's
That
not
one-
doing so great.
No, actually, I realize
Or
it's
is
doing
it?
fine.
Okay.
It's right here, but chickens got to that one, and that one's not. That one's got to go. I got to replant that one. These middle two,
We'll jump
these
on
three will
it.
do fine. I'll get to it.
What we have here, yeah, so we're actually going to, as they grow, these watermelons grow, we're going to train them to kind of run down the fence that way. So we're going to try and keep all of this open here, or at least that's the plan. But on the back side of them, we planted 5 pounds of potatoes, 5 rows.
Can you zoom in?
And
show where they're
you
coming
can actually
in.
see they're sprouting. We're starting to see some green come up. There's some pretty good right there. And this is a completely different row. We have 2 spots where we planted potatoes. And
Show the other bed in a minute.
we'll show that other bed in a minute, because I'm actually, be honest with you, this is my first time to ever plant potatoes, so we're pretty excited about that they're actually already doing what we want them to.
These onions are taking off like crazy, and I am fully aware I planted them too close together, but we really had to maximize our space this year, so I'm hoping it'll be all right. And then we also have huckleberries in here, and these are garden huckleberries. So they're in the nightshade family. It's not the bush variety. It grows more like a tomato plant, and it will have dull blackberries on it that you pick, and you can make jelly and pie out of, and stuff like that. And this is my really messy, I did my best palette planter that has lettuces and some strawberries and stuff in it. Hey babe, you want to grab that egg that I left there?
Did you lay that?
Whatever. This was actually, both of these planters were steps from the previous owners, and we just took them apart and made planters out of them. So this one has onions, you can see one there, and also some lettuce, and in the back there's carrots that haven't come up yet.
Yeah.
And
What's in that?
this is going to be herbs.
What's in that?
Nothing.
Okay.
This is my volunteer / flower bed. This was actually in the backyard. I'm going to back up. Actually, boom. There we go.
Wow.
This was in the backyard, and I used it for cucumbers and tomatoes last year. And I decided I wanted to move it out here to do flowers to attract pollinators. And so I shoveled out the dirt by myself.
Hey,
and
you're moving a lot.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's a habit. Sorry, y'all. I shoveled out the dirt, and we got it put out here, and I planted a bunch of flowers, and then stuff started coming up. Like, I'm pretty sure this is some kale, and it's doing amazing in here too, which is great. And there's some lettuce and
Volunteer kale.
Kale, some lettuce growing in here, tons of flowers, and I'm gonna let you take them to the other potato bed,
Okay.
or maybe show them the planters.
Actually, you may not notice it, but this is actually pretty good soil. So this is kind of soil that we've had working on this is our going into our 3rd year now. And it's
Year for this spot, though.
the 2nd year for this spot, but it's actually starting to turn out really well. When we started, we did we tried to do the Paul Gauchi, cover the ground, so on and so forth. But we neglected to use cardboard or some type of covering to be underneath the mulch. So that kind of screwed things up for us. So we still had grass coming up, because grass is incredibly
The
resilient.
mosquitoes are out. Hey,
With our
why don't we
skeeter
do
traps.
the garden tour, and then let's talk about the. I wanted to
Okay.
share about the what not to do, but maybe we'll have to do it inside because the sun's going down.
Just
Oh.
since we're here, what is this? That's the squash. That's
on,
the
let's see.
zucchini, isn't it?
Yep, zucchini and squash.
Zucchini
And I
squash.
have a bunch more that have to go on the ground.
And they're going to continue right here, spaced probably about every 3 feet. And we're going to do something with the grass. We'll figure it out. Right here, this was Lauren's idea, and I think it was a great idea.
I built it almost by myself.
Almost. She
I
even
got
used
a
a
little scared.
sawzall.
This
Yeah.
part scared me. I cut that one by myself, as you can see. I mean, clearly, and that was me. But there was another one there with nails, and I was like, I'm not risking that. I'm gonna have Heath do it.
Yeah. This is where we have mulch.
Why are our chickens so dumb?
Why are you the way that you are?
Oh my gosh.
You hear that?
She is unhappy. So,
Okay, so what we're doing here is we threw sticks down and such, and that's basically just going to be organic matter that will decompose over a period of time, and basically just be organic matter to feed the compost. as we build it up. So we have 2 of these 3-foot by 12-foot beds that we built. Obviously we built them. And something I really like, I'm kind of proud of, is, yeah, pull that down. This is just a little greenhouse lid, because the nights here are still getting pretty chilly. You know, we just lay them down and they do what a greenhouse is supposed to do. You know, they allow the heat in and build up the heat, but they also build up moisture but keep out unwanted moisture. So like if it rains,
this has been a game changer. Just from last spring to this spring, this has been a game changer as far as our seed not getting washed out and being able to thrive. So,
but we've also been able to actually without putting these into the ground, just leave these out here so that they can sprout and actually get the sun. So I really think, you know, they're doing
this tomato right here,
doing what they need to do.
This one. This is a Dr. Woodcheese tomato from Baker Creek Seeds, and this will produce tomatoes big, like one tomato will fill both of my hands. Like, they're ginormous, and I'm so excited about these.
So I'm hoping that is what we get.
Oh, and we are gonna do, really quick before we move on from here, the plan is to do, so we have these cattle panels. We have one, actually we have 2 unused ones right now. We're gonna cut it to 11 feet and it will stretch down the middle, well actually to the side, and then we will trellis, do the tomatoes along that as a trellis. I love cattle panels. We use them, I mean, clearly. I love the way they look, and they're very...
So let's actually get onto it.
Our neighbors over there,
they're probably like, what are they doing? Oh my gosh. Oh my god.
Why are you the way that you are?
Why am I the way that I am?
So
what's wrong with me?
Oh, down here I have...
Oh yeah.
I can explain what we're using the trellises for, but...
Explain it.
I know they're probably too close together, but...
You got some explaining to do.
They'll work. These are all different varieties of cucumbers, and also Mexican sour gherkins, which is... I don't know if you guys have seen those, but they look like tiny watermelons, but they're a variety of cucumber, and it's almost like a cucumber with a twist of lime, I think is what I read, or lemon. So those will trellis all the way over. And then over here on this side, we have our Cobra pole beans, and those will trellis up this side. And then the sugar snap peas will trellis over this one. And that leads to these planters that will have tomatoes, and those will trellis to that as well.
Yeah.
And then also my pink eye whole peas, purple whole peas. And
so we haven't planned out exactly where we're going to put all of that yet, but we've already even have 5 plants of sugar snap peas that are
working
their way up already. They're doing exactly what we need them to do. You know, we've got to train them a little bit, but
yeah, I have to kind of be like, hey, this is where you want to go now.
We have more. These are what, pickle cucumbers?
These sour gherkins are those ones I was talking about, the little watermelon type. They look like little baby watermelons.
Oh, so those aren't cucumbers. They're
cucumbers.
Oh,
but they look like little watermelons.
Gotcha.
And then I have peppers in the middle, right there. Carrots along. You can't really see them from here, but carrots along there. And let's see, I've got cabbage. It's kind of dark out, but this is all. There's purple lettuce on here.
Up just fine.
We
do need to speed it up though.
Broccoli, yeah, we're running out of light. Radishes, and some of them are planted before the other ones. I had a weird thing where I didn't have that many germinate my first round.
Yeah.
So I had to replant, so that's why there's such big ones and then smaller ones. And then back here, there's a bunch more lettuce and then more cucumbers. If you guys can't tell, I'm tomato and cucumber obsessed. So I plant a lot of those.
But we have, you know, these trellises. I'm excited about these trellises. One, obviously, because you can walk underneath it, and I can't wait to have a video where, you know, we're...
Like a garden update.
Yeah, a garden update where we're walking through our garden and showing everything and what the Father has blessed us with as far as, you know, a potential harvest and so on and so forth. But I think the last thing we want to show as far as the garden goes is this right here. And this is, you know, just, we had these cinders.
Probably need to zoom in to show the actual.
Yeah, here.
There we go.
There we go. Maybe you can see
all
that.
of those potatoes. I mean, it seemed like
This is another 5 pounds.
we planted these, and then we started seeing a little bit of green come up, and then all of a sudden it was like it exploded. Like,
Yeah, but they just took off.
Yeah, it's amazing. And then along the fence here, I really love. Oh, what?
Real quick, we've been putting that on top of this overnight,
Yeah, and when it's been raining, I think,
and when
right?
it's been raining. So
It hasn't been.
I think
getting
that
overly
may have
wet.
been something that's really been helping it.
We won't eat
Whereas
it tonight. It won't be cold enough, but like
Right.
the night that it was cold.
whereas that over there hasn't had anything on top of it at all. It, you know, it's just, you know, the mounds we made. So there's that.
And then over here, I'm taking advantage again of having the fence there to trellis things. So there will be some things planted in there. I have a rosemary bush. That little tiny one right there is a goji berry bush that I actually dug up from our backyard where our grapes are.
Wow.
And moved it there. And our grapes are actually, let's see if I can get this to. Our grapes are actually right there along that fence. I don't know if you can see
walk over
them.
there real quick?
Yeah, we can.
So this is getting pretty exciting. I mean, you're probably looking up my nose right now. I don't know. But yeah, this is our apocalypse garden. And I'm
Oh,
pretty
gosh.
proud of it. You know, if Yeshua decides not to come and this world continues to be hell in a handbasket,
I don't know that it would be him deciding not to come. I think it would be him waiting for the right time.
right, see, we're waiting for the right time, and it's just a lot of waiting. Actively waiting. It's not like the whole hurry up and wait. It's the whole do what you need to do, take care of what you need to take care of.
But be ready at all times.
Yeah. And don't be in fear either, you know, because you got to continue to live your life. He tells us that we are to live our lives, but be in active preparation for his return. You know, prepare yourself spiritually, be in continual repentance. We're at the time of Passover right now. I believe Israel celebrated Passover today. So there's all that. We choose to observe a different calendar, but you know, that has nothing to do with anything.
I feel like if you're doing Passover,
If you're doing Passover, if you're doing
way to go.
the appointed times, the
Yeah.
Moedim, you know, I feel like the Father's just, you know, excited that you are choosing to be obedient to his word and his commands. Just like in John 14 says, this is how I know that you love me, that you would obey my commands. And what are the commands? What are the commands of the Father? What are the commands of Yeshua?
It's not what he commands is not too hard. It's not too grievous. So and it's not done out of a religious spirit. It's
Or
not done
even
out of
obligation.
Obligation. It's done because
simply because you love him and he said,
yes,
do it.
For me too, it kind of boils down to I just don't want to do something knowingly that he has said not to do. I just don't feel right about it, you know?
Yeah.
And we're not perfect. Believe me, we are so not perfect. So the grace, I mean, we are not trying to say there's no grace, because Yeshua, praise Abba for his son, because we have grace and mercy through him.
Oh yeah.
But before we run out of sun, let's show you our grapes. And it is a mess back here. We are
Such
reading
a
and
mess.
cleaning up tomorrow. But this
I've been putting off weed eating for a while.
this is a 1-year-old grapevine. And then this one over here, it's kind of getting leaves a little bit slower, but this is a 2-year-old grapevine. And then back behind it, we have back there a kumquat, and then a clementine tree on the patio, and a lemon tree. And they are lagging, and it's probably my fault for not bringing them in during the winter, but I'm hoping they're going to be okay. So let's end off by showing the sunset, because it's absolutely gorgeous. And yeah, we're actually going to go in and
We're just going to
table.
sit down and basically add to this video.
Yes, we're going to talk about the things we wish we would have done
You
differently.
see that? Is that a deer?
What?
No, it's just my target.
Oh my gosh.
All right, see y'all in a minute.
Okay. We're here to talk our do's and don'ts and wish we woulda, couldas, and
Yeah, right.
all of that.
Should, coulda, woulda, but we didn't.
Yeah, this is so bright. We have those Edison bulbs over our dining room table, but they are the white ones, and it's like blinding.
Yeah. But they make us look so good, which is the only thing that matters in anything at all.
I feel like they
Is
make my
looking
eyebrows
good, you know?
go away.
Yeah.
So we showed you guys the garden, and now we wanted to show you guys kind of like who we go with for seeds, and I'm in charge of buying the seeds, and I may or may not have a problem.
Big problem.
This is my
Big.
my seed bucket, and like my things I take out there with me when I'm doing stuff. But
Like my gloves and.
yeah, this is all seeds.
That doesn't belong in there, but we'll keep it there.
Seeds, more seeds, and I have them together like by what they are. Like these are all cucumbers of some sort. And then I got more seeds today, guys.
And most of these we bought this year. There's like more than...
I bought a lot this year.
We probably have close to $200-something in seeds.
This year, well, altogether, definitely. This
Babe,
year,
when I went to Tractor Supply, I bought $50 worth of seeds.
no.
Yes.
We had maybe 150 tops.
200
150.
at least.
So, anyways.
You gotta think, the first time you bought seeds, you spent $130?
What are
the
you
first
talking?
time this season?
No, I got it down to like 75.
No, you were at like 150.
Yeah, and then I kept working my way down until...
And then you turned around and bought more.
Yeah. Look.
200 at least in seeds.
Simply cannot have too many seeds, okay?
You can't.
You just can't. Hey, I'm going to yell at my kids really quick. Hey, you guys, quit fighting! All day, every day. And
Stop talking!
I think what's great is that Heath has been home during the quarantine, and he gets to see what I put up with every single day.
I don't know how she does it. I literally had to leave today.
Hey, guys. Guys, you're about to lose your cookies.
Well, Mom, Jace wants all the lights off like a seed eater.
Hey, take two, because we have kids. So we're gonna show you first off what we like to do for seeds.
Quick question. Are we going to show what we just did in the video? Or no? Not just started. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you for your patience.
So we're gonna show you our favorite company for seeds, and then
They're the best.
another. Well, I mean, there's a lot of amazing companies out there.
I mean, next to Tractor Supply, nobody beats Tractor Supply. I am not affiliated in any way with Tractor Supply.
Anyways, I really, really love this company right here. This is probably backwards, but it's Baker Creek Seeds.
Baker Creek Seeds.
They will send you a free catalog every year, and it's gorgeous. I mean, they have all of their seeds in there, and beautiful pictures, and the story behind their heirloom seeds. It's just amazing. I really love ordering from them. Our first year, I didn't order any seeds. I just bought what they had at Tractor Supply.
It's true.
I probably, honestly, financially should have stuck with that, because getting on the Baker Creek Seed site is like a kid in a candy store. I mean, the amount of incredibly rare and beautiful plants that this company has is awesome. So this is my...
But with all that said, we're really looking forward to what we get out of the garden this year because of, how much she's talked them up.
Well, the tomatoes, for example, last year I grew some sweeties, the little tiny cherry tomatoes, some yellow pear, some beefsteak, which for some reason never do well for me.
Yeah, but all of the tomatoes did really well last year.
Except for the beefsteak.
Except for the beefsteak.
Yeah, but the other ones did great. But this year I ordered so many varieties from Baker Creek, so I'm really excited.
How many? How many varieties?
Gosh, I don't...
Let
me just pull out my tomato stack. Wait, here's my tomato stack.
all the...
Well, this is only my Baker Creek stack. I have another stack of tomatoes, but let's see.
Is that just tomato? Oh, this is all of our seeds.
No, there's more in there, but...
Oh, there's more. Wait.
Okay, so this year I'm doing yellow pear, Brad's Atomic Grape, blue cream berries, Dr. Witch's yellow, Paul Robeson, which apparently this tomato right here, Baker Creek Seed sells Paul Robeson's. It is like the, what did they say? There's like a cult following for this, for tomato lovers. It's like a really, really big deal.
Which is funny because we've never heard of it.
Just a wrap. And then Cherokee Purple. And then today in my haul that I have for today, Sunrise Bumblebee. I added that. And another one. Where is it? Oh, this one. Look how cool this is. Green Zebra Tomato. So.
Is that a G or a C?
I think it's a C. That's that pepper I was talking about.
Yeah, Corbachi?
I want to say it's Corbachi. So,
Sweet.
Anyways, Baker Creek Seeds, check them out. They're amazing. Another great thing is that they send you free seeds.
Yeah, love
with
them.
your order. So this order, they sent me Japanese giant red mustard. So this is not something I would have thought about ordering. So it's kind of neat they sent it.
Are the seeds super small?
With this one, yes.
You know, just thinking of the parable of the mustard seed. And I've never literally seen a mustard seed myself, so.
Another suggestion would be to seed save. Our first year, we had a friend give us some seeds from his okra plant. So
two different types, two different varieties.
Biggest okra I'd ever seen.
Massive.
They were ginormous. Like, you know, you have the skinny okra. This thing was like really thick.
It was like the diameter of a quarter, but almost 12 inches long.
It was ridiculous. So
incredible. So many seeds from it.
I saved the seeds. I grew them again the next year, and then I've planted them this year too. So
okay, so those quick question. The okra that we have in the garden, which one?
I think I mainly planted the long civilly. I call them civilly because our friend, their last name, they gave it to us civilly. So civilly long okra. And then I did plant some from the store too. So we'll see. We'll see. But anyways, these I got at Target. It was $1 for a pack of 15. And they're perfect little seed savers. And they were during the spring when they have their garden stuff. So yeah.
Show them the packet.
Oh, yeah. There's the packet. And then
this
is dill from my garden.
And she said Target.
It still smells amazing. Still smells like dill.
Oh, what's your dill? It smells good.
Anyways, so seed-wise, seed save, find a good company.
Hey, quick thing that we found out. Okra actually does pretty good at germinating. Germinating. After several years, doesn't it?
What?
Yeah.
Oh, you mean like the percentage that it would germinate is still really high.
That one.
Yes. Yeah. So you know, I had planted some seeds that were.
I kind of know what I'm talking about. Okay.
I had planted some seeds that were a couple years old, and they it was sparse. Not all of them germinated, but the okra have been very consistent. So that's really cool. Her dog is down here by my feet. So, okay, seeds are out of the way.
Out of the way.
Let's get on to our do's and our don'ts.
Let's get on it.
First, I want to talk about the progression of our garden and what I wish we would have done differently. And yeah, so our first year, we moved into the house in April. And like right away.
So we're like, let's dive in.
We want to have a garden. Like we weren't even fully unpacked yet, I don't think.
Yeah, we were just so excited to have an area that we could actually garden in.
We rented for 7 years.
This was our first like, so our apartment before we bought this house, like there was no location at all for gardening, period.
I had some.
I mean, we could have done stuff. You know, we could have done planters with tomatoes and stuff.
I should have.
We should have, because that would have been a great learning opportunity.
Doing,
Can I say this?
Yeah, I don't know. Can you? I mean, what are you going to
What
say?
I wish we would have done, the first thing right off the bat, was build raised beds.
You knew I was going to say that. You
No, I
took
didn't.
that from me.
Oh, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
I had no clue.
Yes, you did. Oh
How
my
would I know?
gosh, you stole that.
I did not steal it. I am genuine. And
You knew that that was my thing.
is it? Is it though? I built them.
So, can I say this?
Sure.
What I would
You
have
took it.
What I would have done differently is I would have done the same thing. No, we were so excited. We went out, and because I didn't want to spend the money on a tiller, I was like, "This thing will do." We bought
We didn't know anything.
We
at
bought
all.
a little cultivator to break through St. Augustine grass because I was so naive and I had no idea like the amount of work that goes into actually breaking up the ground.
Right.
So he says it was just to appease me. We buy this tiller or cultivator. We come back. Heath turns it on, and within, I don't know, 5 to 10 minutes, I'm like, I
It
don't
wasn't
think
even
this
5 to 10 minutes. It was like
right away.
45 seconds. And I'm like, really?
I'm like, I don't think this is gonna cut it. So we end up going and we buy a tiller, and
The next day.
we till out. I don't remember what was the length of that. Do you
It
remember?
was the equivalent of about 7 feet by probably closer to 18 feet, maybe 20 feet.
Just a long
as far
rectangle.
as length by width. 2 sections of that, with maybe a 3-foot section in between the two.
We only ended up using one section though.
Yeah.
And
So the other section completely filled back up with grass.
yeah. And so we did, I can't even tell you how many YouTube videos we watched, how many hours
Oh, yeah.
were spent on trying to
All of
learn.
them.
Because we knew nothing.
At all.
Nothing.
Completely ignorant.
And, I started watching Justin Rhodes' channel on just autoplay. Like, it would be playing all the time. Our youngest is 2 now. But I think he even enjoyed having it on. So I would just play it in the background. And then we would watch Paul Gauchi. I hope we're saying that right. The Back to Eden Garden Method. And so
Well, Justin Rhodes did that tour of all the different gardens. And that was one that
That's
he really
right. That's how
highlighted.
we found it, was Justin Rhodes' channel. So, Paul Gauchi teaches a no-till method. So you would actually come in with about 8 inches of mulch, and you would cover your area, and you would do that in the fall so that over the winter the grass would die out. It would actually feed the soil, and it would become more nutrient dense, and then by the spring you would pull back the mulch and you no longer have grass and you have really nutrient dense soil. Well, we didn't have time to do that because it was already spring.
Just moved in. We're like,
Yeah, so
we need food now.
he's tilled it, and then we covered it in mulch, and
Well, actually, we tilled it, and then we started planting, and we didn't have the mulch in there until after, some of the plants had actually started to we had already planted the plants in the ground. We had our seed starters and so on and so forth. So we didn't get the plants into the ground until probably about May.
we were so late.
We closed on the house April 2nd.
We were so late getting
Yeah,
in.
I mean, it was stupid late.
I can remember saying we walked out there and we were like, well, I really hope these grow, and I guess if it doesn't, I mean, it's a learning experience. And then within a couple of weeks, we were walking outside and I was like, whoa,
We actually have food
this
growing.
is huge. The only thing we had that year, we had squash, zucchini, cucumbers, tomatoes, tried tomatoes. They were really a disaster that
really
year.
Did not. They grew.
The plants grew, and they did not get a single tomato or they didn't get any tomatoes that actually made it until like August, and we got like one burst of tomatoes that grew, and then that was it.
That's right.
And I'm like tomato killer. Like I didn't know what I was doing. And then, so we had the tomatoes, the cucumbers, squash, zucchini, okra, and sugar baby watermelons. And we got a total of 3, I think. 2 or 3.
At one point we had 10 sugar babies.
And
Which
something
are
happened.
little, if you don't know what they're small watermelons,
About this
literally
big.
about that size. I think the largest one may have been a diameter of about maybe 8 or 9 inches.
That was pretty good.
they were really good. They tasted great, but
Just barely
we
had
only
any.
at one time growing we had maybe 10 of them, but only 3 of them made it to full maturity.
Yeah.
As far as for harvesting, so that stank, but they tasted great.
Well, and the cucumbers I made pickles for the first time, and I fell in love with pickling. It was amazing making your own pickles, and
This is
know.
not scripted, by the way, at all.
yeah,
I mean,
we're
we
really
have
all
no
over the
clue
place.
what
In
we're
fact,
doing.
our conversations normally go this way.
They're just like this,
They just kind of go here and there and everywhere.
but they always come back around.
They will, somehow in a roundabout way. But the pickling process was super fun, and my daughter, if I let her, we wouldn't have any pickles because she'd eat them all within a week.
We were just talking about tomatoes and sugar baby
I
watermelons.
know, and then I talked about how good the cucumbers did.
Oh.
Okay, so that was our first year. Looking back now,
Yeah, we did.
looking back now,
We didn't have trellis.
honestly,
that's what it
I
was.
don't know that I would have done anything different our first year. I think it was great the way that we started.
It was a lot to learn
It
all at
was.
once, and we learned a ton.
Yes.
So year 2,
This is when I have so many wish I would have done stuff differently.
well, as far as year 1 goes, here's the power of the mulch, okay? So I had said before we had already planted our sprouts into the ground.
That was the dad snap.
We had already planted the sprouts into the ground in their
Don't nibble
little
on my
thingies, whatever these are. And so they were already coming up. They were getting to be a relatively decent size, nothing too large, like a zucchini plant gets. So they were already getting some growth, and we decided to go ahead and pull the trigger as far as throwing mulch out there. And we put mulch around those plants, and all of a sudden,
Oh yeah,
within
they really started doing
days,
well.
they just took off. I mean, the sugar babies really started to take off. The zucchini, like after that, the zucchini plant, and we had, 3 zucchini plants?
Probably 3 or 4 zucchinis and a
And
few
squash. But
Oh my gosh,
they
we had
just
so
took
many.
off. They did so great. We ended up with zucchinis literally, from here to the tip of my finger.
Which
Every bit of 18 to 20 inches long.
let me tell you, just to clarify, don't let them grow that big. It was my first year,
Bad
so
idea.
I'm like, I'm gonna leave them on because look at how big they are. Oh my gosh, you guys, look at how big my zucchinis are.
We had so
Well,
much zucchini noodles. The zoodles.
Oh, I love zoodles. But
It's
the
like we
funny thing
lived on
is,
that.
it's like, yeah, they're really ginormous, but once they get that big, the seeds get a lot harder because the seeds have come to maturity,
Yeah.
and they're a lot. I don't know what word I'm trying to say here. They're a lot. What is that word?
Tough.
They're a lot more tough. The skin's tougher. Seeds are tougher as they get older. So you want to pick them young, which I can say now.
Well, you
that
want to
I
pick them
know.
young, but I would say, like, if you're going to let one go to seed,
Yeah, maybe let 2 get as big as they're going to get.
let them get as big as they're going to get, and then let them dry out, and then...
No. Sorry, baby.
Well, that's what we did for...
The
maybe
okra's
that's just for
different.
the okra. So,
I'm the seed
do the
saver.
protocol. Do the
For
protocol
the
per the plant.
zucchini, I need to do a whole different video on the seed saving.
Yes, we'll do that.
We're moving on. So the first year, I would say there's not a lot I would do differently, except for maybe have at least 1 raised bed. But really, I'm pretty happy with the way that the first year went because we couldn't have taken on much more. When we bought the house, we had a 3-week-old. I mean, we were in the house buying process at the end of my pregnancy, and that's our 3rd baby. So we weren't exactly, we had our hands full. And our puppy is chewing on our curtains.
So glad we didn't
so-
have her.
She is a handful. Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
We'll have to introduce her in another video.
She's a 4-month-old, 42-pound puppy.
Yeah. She's a big girl.
She's big.
Nasa. No. So, second year, we had all of these.
Dasa.
All of these. Come here. Come here. Come on. Come on. Come here. Showing you. Stand up all the way. Stand up all the way. Come on. Hey. Hey. Say hi. She's a good girl. Yes, she will.
She's smart. She's not perfectly trained yet.
No. She's very much still like wanting to mouth, and her nails are insanely sharp because I cut it too short one night and it bled, and then since then I've been afraid to do it. So fast forward to the second year, and we had all of these goals about, you know, getting stuff in the ground sooner. He said it was like 144 seeds planted.
It's 144. So we went to Lowe's and we got a couple of those planters, those seed starter planters with the little soil pods that go into them. Well, they have 72 pods each in each one, and then you plant your seeds in the holes, and then you water them. They soak up with water, so on and so forth. So that's the game plan. We had 2 of them completely full of seeds. 72 times 2, 144.
Lay down.
So we had 144 plants, you know, planted, ready to go, put in the water. I mean,
The pods.
put ready to put in the ground when they sprout. There we go. That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
And what did you do?
Well, I like looking at me like that. I put them outside, and I still feel like this was maybe the first year. Are you sure this was?
I'm pretty sure you did it both years.
Shut up. So, okay, I have dog hair in my mouth. Hold on.
Gross.
I put them on the porch, and then it rained, and our
A lot.
gutters couldn't keep up with the amount of rain, and so on our back door, it literally turns into a just straight waterfall. It really sucks when it rains. We've got to do something about
it even
that.
kind of droops, and I've got to fix it.
Oh my
But
gosh, this dog. She's somersaulted.
been doing everything I can to just keep
What are you
the gutters
doing?
clean.
Ow,
you know,
ow,
so
ow.
at least there is
She's
some
pinned
flow.
my ow. Ow. Oh my
Why are
gosh.
you the way
she
that
just
you are?
came and somersaulted, put her head down, did like downward dog with her butt in the air, and then flopped over.
Ow!
You're a
You're
hoot.
being a real McButthole.
You silly girl.
Here, get over there.
So anyways, long story short, we ended up with having our seeds messed up. You're really hurting me with your nails, girlfriend. I think I'm gonna, you take over for a minute. I gotta move over here.
Where were you going with that? What were you saying? I wasn't listening at all.
The seeds got rained out.
Okay,
And then
so the
it ended up
seeds
being
got rained
an
out.
insanely wet spring. on
It was
top
a
of that.
very wet spring, which kind of leads into the food shortages, you know, that's kind of going on nationally. It was, I believe last year it was so wet. We had such a wet spring. Kind of to put it in perspective, there were probably close to 3 million acres
Yes, you did pee on my fur.
that were not farmed last year. It's either 3 or 11 million acres. I can't remember which one. As far as the stats, I've slept since then. But it was so wet that farmers literally couldn't even get their equipment out into their fields just to begin the process of planting. You know, so everything was very late. The ground was saturated for so long that farmers couldn't do anything for fear of even being stuck. So there's all that. That's, you know, how wet it was last year.
So,
Right there.
oh boy. So we didn't, first of all, we didn't get stuff in the ground when we should have.
Right.
So,
Again.
second year in a row. And we worked really, really, really hard on expanding the garden. We went from a 7-foot wide garden to a
7 foot by
about 18.
7 foot wide and about 18 feet long to a 20 by 30 section in the ground. I dug up, I tilled the whole thing, dug everything up, dug a trench all the way around 20 by 30 and put wood down into the ground and then filled it all back in, made it all nice and everything. And then
Sorry. One of my best friends texted me. Have text back.
So there was an individual who lives in the town across the highway who had just moved into their house, and they had a bunch of mulch that they were getting rid of, and they just said, you know, if you can pick it up, you can have it for free. We're like, yes, this is what we need.
Down.
So we had the brilliant idea of taking my trailer, running over there, loading it up. It took 2 hauls worth, and we got it. Put a couple divots in the yard and everything, that every time she steps in one, she
Twist my ankle.
twists her ankle, throws her hip
I'm
out,
getting
so on
better
and so
now.
forth. It's just a
girlfriend.
laughing opportunity is all it really is. But yeah, we took all of that mulch, and it was enough to, if we'd have spread it out evenly, it would have been enough to put probably close to a 6-inch layer, 6-7-inch layer of mulch all the way across the top. Well, what we neglected to do, unfortunately, was put
Cardboard.
cardboard over.
And we didn't do it thick enough.
Over the entire area. No, if we'd have done cardboard, that mulch would have been fine, because we had enough to do a 6-inch layer at least.
Oh, well, yeah.
It was a lot of mulch. It took a lot of shoveling. But I got her
What
done.
does she have? How does she do this? Hey, baby, can you check and see what she's got? What Dasa has? Okay, I love your picture. It's
My
beautiful.
nose itches.
It's from her. It's the hair. I love that.
I don't like it.
I love that.
I like your
he
drawing,
doesn't
baby.
mean he doesn't like that, honey. He doesn't like his nose itching. Will you check
You're
and see
not
what she's
coming
got?
in here
I know.
to do that.
Our
Kids.
oldest is so sweet. On what, honey? On her ball? On a car?
I can tell because it's making. No, one of Daddy's.
Oh.
Yeah, she can have that.
No,
Let her have it.
don't. That'd be bad for her. Take
Okay,
it away,
then throw
baby.
it away.
Yeah.
I can't. Dosa's biting me.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so we
Go. Dasa, leave it.
we neglected, just like the advice had said, to go ahead and put cardboard down because the grass is going to grow up through the mulch. We didn't listen to that.
Nope.
And guess what? The grass grew up through the mulch.
After all of that work.
Imagine that. So at the end of last year, we were like, "Oh my gosh, what the heck do we do? There's so much grass."
And it ended up being so bad that even though I planted a few things in there, the grass just took over. So I had
And you remember the garden from earlier?
that was
We
so
have grass in
productive.
there. If we'd have done cardboard, it would have fed the soil nitrogen
Yeah.
and so on and so forth. But it would have also killed off the grass underneath, not allowing it. It would have kind of builds up like a pliable layer. If you know anything about cardboard when it gets wet
No,
and
not
so on
yet.
and so forth, if you ever witnessed any of that, but it does a great job as far as sealing it off. But it's also an organic matter.
I feel like we need to get to the point here.
Nope.
So, long story short, we have a huge garden now with nothing in it.
It's not huge. It's
Well, I
big.
mean, from the first year to the second, we go from this little garden to huge space for your garden, yet not doing anything with it. So we planted some pumpkins, which we got like 3 pumpkins out of because we had
Well,
horrible.
we also built those raised beds, those 2 12-foot
I'm gonna
beds.
get there.
Oh, okay.
We had
Cool.
those
I'll let her get
horrible squash vine borers, and I ended up getting squash and zucchini in the ground really late. Barely got anything out of them because of the bugs as well. And I got okra in the bed late, so I got a few okra, but it was just a huge disappointment, the in-ground bed. What we did do right, and,
Hallie, baby.
and I wish instead of us expanding the raised bed so big, we would have just done
Can you please
multiple.
give me some water?
I mean, I'm sorry, not raised bed.
Thank you.
I wish instead of doing, no, baby. Instead of doing giant in-ground bed. I wish we would have just kept that section we had done for year 1 and then done several raised beds to the size that we have now, and then just had walkways in between them.
And just filled that entire area up. You know, that actually may be a thing that we could implement.
We could.
Yeah, just go ahead and
You know,
keep grass. And
I really love the Roots and Refuge. Their garden layout is just a dream to me.
we have no affiliation with Roots and Refuge, but if you have, or if you haven't checked out her channel,
You've got to watch it.
She's got a lot of great stuff.
I've learned
She's
so
a
much.
wealth of knowledge.
Yes.
I think her and her husband are doing that full time now.
Yes, yeah. And
So that's a cool deal, you know. Yay for them. That's
and they have a wonderful
absolutely
testimony
wonderful.
as well.
Yeah, it's very cool.
But so their model basically, they only have raised beds. In fact, this year is the first year that they're starting to do an in-ground bed, and they're doing the Back to Eden method, which is what we were talking about before.
Right.
But they have the walkways in between, and they have multiple rows of the raised beds, and then that's actually where we got the cattle panel idea of the arches.
Yeah.
Was from Roots and Refuge Farm. So that's what I wish I would have done differently, or what we would have done differently. But fast forward to this year, man, have we gotten a lot done this year, which really is a testimony. I know.
Thank God for this quarantine.
This is such a weird time for me because I usually deal with
Stop. Thank
for
you, babe.
probably a good 10 years now, at least. Probably more than that. Probably about 15 years. I've had obsessive compulsive disorder. It's been more severe at some times in my life and less severe at others. I've also dealt with a lot of anxiety issues and stuff like that. And not like, you know how some people would be like, oh, I'm so OCD, I like my bathroom to be really clean. Like, that's not obsessive compulsive disorder.
Something to joke about. I mean, she really has it.
Like, it's so, when people act like that, those of us who have actually dealt with obsessive compulsive disorder, like, you don't really understand. While everybody is going around freaking out about washing their
This
hands.
isn't a self-help video.
That has been my life for the past 15 years. Like,
Where are you going?
I'm going somewhere, so if you just let
okay.
me get there.
Sorry.
So when all of this started with the quarantining, and originally he was told, you know, his job was essential, and so I was really...
I was told on a Friday that my job was essential. Right before the end of shift. No, I'm sorry, it was 9 a.m. We were told our job was essential. 9 a.m. on a Friday. So we come back to work the following Monday, and they tell us...
At
literally
minutes before
4
the shift
minutes
is
before
over.
we're walking out the door to go home. You know, 3:30, we're out the door, we're gone.
They're like,
They
don't
say
leave.
don't come back until April 6th.
And then it got bumped to April 20th.
And then so 4 minutes before we're leaving work, they say don't come back April 6th. We're no longer essential. Plant shut down. No work.
So all of my stuff about the anxiety and stuff was to say that I have been surprisingly calm during all of this. And I'm not saying I haven't had any anxiety or any worries, but I've had a lot of peace as well.
I've had a lot of peace as well, but I think it's revealing, like, the stress is coming up as knots in my back.
That's not good, baby. So
They hurt.
because he's been home, things that would have taken
That's it.
us...
It's the kids.
Things that would have taken us a really long time to do in the garden were being done like boom, 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 boom. Like every day we were out there just working our butt off. So just in this year, we went from having 2 raised beds that were full of grass and an in-ground bed that there was so much grass that you really couldn't tell that much of a difference between. In fact, it looked worse than the ground outside of the garden because the grass hadn't been mowed, so it was just horrible.
I mean, it was long grass.
Yeah, it was long dead grass basically. So in the matter of a couple of weeks, we...
Should I be scared?
What was that? I don't know what that noise was. in the matter of a couple of weeks, we dug out all of the dirt from our raised beds. 2 12-foot long by 3 beds. And got all the grass out, laid out bed liners, which, if you're going to build a raised bed, please don't be like us and put the wood around it and dump dirt in there. Actually be smart enough to either put cardboard or a bed liner or something to keep the grass just from coming up through the dirt.
And see, that's one reason why we're doing this, is because this was actually really just a random thing that I decided to do while she was out there working in the garden today. And then this is literally like, I don't know, 8.
If you've even made it
Eight or
this long
nine
in the
takes.
video, like, cool. Because
For you.
if I were you, I probably would have been like, these guys talk too much.
We do.
Clicked it off. But so yeah, don't be like us. Put down a bed liner. So we did that. We Heath tilled the garden. We got out a ton of grass. Clearly not all of it, but well, I mean, compared to what it was, it's a lot.
Ideally, you really don't want to till. You don't want to. But you know, this fall or the past fall, it was,
we didn't
do
what we were supposed to do again.
We didn't. Well, it was a couple of things. We didn't do what we were supposed to do. We didn't have money to do the things we wanted to do. And we really didn't know what to do as far as all the grass that was in there, but we didn't want to lose all the mulch either. So
yeah, we spent all that time getting that.
I figured basically our best bet was to just go ahead and till it. At least the mulch is still in the ground, and it's organic matter that's going to continue to feed the soil. It's still going to decompose, so on and so forth. So that's what we decided to do. We ended up pulling a lot of grass still, but there's still a lot of grass in there. So it's just something that we're going to have to fight. And it may be for us that we have to, maybe we have to
Lay down.
change our location of our in-ground bed, or whatever the case we choose, But it's, if somebody says in their video, make sure you do something because this will happen, don't ignore it.
So we got that done with the raised beds, and then the in-ground garden he tilled. And then I got the idea that because I wanted our chickens to be able to free range, we had to have a fence. So he built me a fence and a swinging gate because that's what I really wanted, and I wanted it to be pretty, so he made it pretty for me. And I also created a raised bed space that we showed you guys with the onions and stuff, and the potatoes are in. And so anyways, we got a ton done. So even though the quarantine has been stressful and financially we're taking a hit, and that kind of stuff, it's been really, really nice having him home. He's my best friend, so we love getting to see each other so much.
She's my favorite person.
Yeah.
But I am.
You have to bring this up. I know it, so just say it.
I am our youngest son's favorite person.
Anyways.
Ever. I mean, that's a huge victory in my book.
Doesn't matter that I breastfed him for 10 months and that I, carried him.
Doesn't mean a thing.
Full term. Anyways. So, basically, if you've made it this far, kudos to you. Things we would have done differently. We would have focused more on above ground gardening, raised bed gardening. Not that it's bad to do in-ground gardening. It's just you can control the environment more in the raised beds. You can control the soil. It's a lot easier to amend the soil. The soil is fluffier. You know what I mean? So the roots. Although I will say this, there are some plants that prefer the denser soil for their roots.
That is
so
true.
Our okra usually does amazing in the ground. So that's why I didn't even bother to put it in the raised beds.
So pertaining to the Back to Eden method, or some people call it the Paul Gauchi method or whatever, if you're not going to put forth the work beforehand in the fall, and lay down cardboard and then lay down mulch and all of that, if you're not going to do that at least 6 months before you plan on having a garden, don't bother with it. Do a raised bed.
Yeah. And honestly, if you're watching this, you're probably trying to garden right now. So
You're probably going to have a better
I would
yield
do raised.
building a raised bed.
And it's
right
not
now.
hard
It's
at
not.
all. There's so many videos on how to do it. And please don't feel like you need to go out and buy one of those $150 raised bed kits, because you can go to Lowe's
They're trash
and get the
anyway.
lumber and it's going to last you longer. And you can build it in whatever shape you want. Honestly, one of our favorite beds that we have out there was a metal fire ring from Tractor Supply. And we just threw dirt in it, and it's a great raised bed.
Yep.
So you can really use anything. Anything. I have the thing we were using for firewood turned into a little raised thing for me. The little thing with the handles. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes,
Yeah.
I do know.
So, anyways, I think that's...
Anything else you want to talk about?
No. I think we're actually going to do like a separate video for if you're trying to garden this year, what plants we suggest doing. And
This is news to me.
yeah, I just decided just a minute ago. I was like, yeah, we're going to do a different video because honestly, I think there's probably like 3 of you who made it till here. So,
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you're still interested, I mean, hey, I can say this. I definitely appreciate if you did watch all this
yes.
way. I greatly appreciate it.
And don't forget
I'm not getting paid. I have 8 followers. Who cares?
to like and subscribe.
Yeah.
And I'm going to
Do
be
that
creating
stuff.
a YouTube channel because I don't want to share one with him. So we'll see. Maybe I'll stick on here with him, but we have to call it something else. I told him we should be, what did I say? Oh, Bible thumping homesteaders, but people might take offense to that. So I'm just kidding. If you want to follow us on Instagram, our handle is
Call it Tour Garden or something.
at Life on Our Micro Farm is our Instagram handle.
Yeah.
And we post lots of stuff on there. So thanks for joining us. And our kids are screaming, so it's probably a good time to stop.
Okay, bye.
Bye.